Well, we are live. Dude, I'm
Nice.
so stoked to have you, man.
Awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much for having me, man.
Yeah, so this is Aben Eubanks. I'll let you talk a little bit about yourself, but super crazy story how I know you, how you're here. So for people that aren't familiar, probably best known for being the guitarist of Kelly Clarkson, pop singer, star, and also you had this couch before me.
Yes, ironically, I did.
So
That's right. That's right.
as a result, he's also my best friend's. What would that be?
New bride.
Yeah. But so my best friend is married to my other best friend, and her dad is Aben.
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
can be followed.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah. It's a crazy world out there, and life is crazy, right? How
yeah,
things lead. But yeah, Era. I remember Era moved out here just right before the pandemic, and met you and her husband Austin.
yeah. That's so weird to say now.
I know,
Crazy.
right? It feels very very strange to say,
Yeah.
but yeah. And so she met you, and really her gang that she runs with now, like very shortly after she moved here, and yeah, and it just really took off. You guys were great, and she like next thing I knew, she was over here recording music with you,
For
and like
sure.
yeah, and it's weird how it took so long for us to meet. Like we knew of each other
For so
for
long.
so long, but it
Yeah.
just never I don't, for whatever one reason or another,
Yeah.
never crossed paths until the wedding.
Yeah.
But yeah, which you did an amazing job
Dude, I was so
at.
nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
Like, well, a show was one thing, but playing at somebody's wedding, I was like, I can't fuck this
I
up.
know, yeah, right. 'Cause I know, because it's like you get, all right, stop. We're gonna back up, and
Yeah,
it's like I know you think about the sweat that like a photographer goes through. It's like, oh, I'm loading my camera. Well, they just cut the cake, or
for
they just did the
sure, for
thing.
sure.
There's no like backing up and like or laughing it off like in a
I remember
show.
Christian asked me if what was that drink that everybody was drinking?
One of the like was the Era or the Austin or
No. Like I think like Christian got like a whole bunch of there were like seltzers, but high noon. That's
High
what it.
Noons.
That's what it
Oh,
was.
those things.
I
Oh
remember
yeah.
right before I went on, Christian's like, "You want a high noon?" I was like, "Yes."
Yeah, those that looked like those were the sponsor of the
Yeah,
event.
for
They were
sure.
everywhere.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, so Era is Aben's daughter. We met during COVID, and I mean, I guess I can kind of thank COVID in a way because like we just had this apartment in Studio City, and like we had nothing else to do, since he just like came over, we hung out every single day,
Yeah,
jammed,
record music, and yeah, it's great.
and ironically, you're not too far from us either, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, why don't you talk a little bit? Like I've heard stuff from Era, obviously, but like talk a little bit about like your beginnings, because like you've been here in LA for a while now, I'm guessing.
Yeah. Like so I guess I originally came out to LA in 2006, when I very first started playing with Kelly,
Okay.
and was out here until 2012, I think it was, and we moved to Nashville
Okay.
for a spell. Um, did the whole Nashville thing there, and
So when you got your start with Kelly, you guys were in Nashville, or you started here in
we
LA?
were yeah we were originally in LA,
Okay.
and then operations and everything just kind of gravitated towards Nashville. So like everybody kind of like migrated to Nashville eventually,
Okay.
and so everyone was out there, and we kind of made Nashville the home base, and that was good. It was good for a while. It was it's a different.
And what year was this again?
This was 2012.
So is this like when you kind of think like the Nashville like surge
Surge.
started?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. I think like everything was kind of hitting, and like all of the like
Okay.
just energy and everything was just kind of pulling everything towards
Okay.
it. Really, it was a good time for Nashville.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so we're out there, and things eventually kind of the pendulum kind of swung. Everything kind of started coming back out here in LA. And
Okay.
I've always been super fond of LA. I've always like kind of like side never wanted to leave LA in the first
Really?
place.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm glad I did. It was Nashville was great, and went to Nashville, and had a child, had another
Mm-hmm.
child, Everson, and yeah, so we came back out here in stayed out in Nashville for about 5 or 6 years, and then came back out here in like 2018. And as you know, it wasn't too much longer after that that the whole like world
World
went into
shut
like
down.
shut down and
Yeah.
stuff. But yeah, we were at the time we were gearing up for a Vegas residency.
No
We were over
way.
at Center Staging and production. Everything was we were building everything and in the middle of.
You're probably pretty excited about that, huh?
I was at the time. I was
Yeah.
super excited.
Yeah, that sounds like a
It's like a
blast.
3 month kind of thing, and it was going to be a lot of fun. It was a big
Yeah.
production.
Which hotel was that ever sorted out?
It was going to be Planet Hollywood. I think it was Brooklyn
Okay.
Stage is what,
Okay.
but I think it's converted now because I think that's the we're doing a new one now this summer, a for real one.
Yeah.
That's hopefully like COVID doesn't come and stamp out again.
And you are so a residency is happening.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
happening in July and August of this
In
year.
in Vegas?
Yeah, and it's in that same hotel. It used to be Planet Hollywood, but now it's called something like Backcat or
Okay.
Baccarat or
They
I don't
changed the
know.
name of it. They
Yeah,
changed
yeah,
the
it's
name.
something.
Okay.
It's something like
That's
that. I
really
don't know.
cool though. That's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, it should be fun. But we were gearing up last time, and it was just like
That
shut it
sucks,
down.
dude.
So then the next thing you know, it's just like sitting in the kitchen listening to.
So with the Vegas residency, I don't know exactly how that works. Does that mean that like obviously it means that you guys are going to be there like every weekend or something? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Do you have like accommodations there then? Like, do you stay there or do you still like live in LA?
Yeah, I still live here. I mean, I think it's just Fridays and Saturdays and some Wednesdays.
Okay.
So I think on the Wednesday things, it would be like a thing where you would probably fly out like a Wednesday morning
Okay.
and then have a day off there on Thursday,
Okay.
Friday and Saturday.
You like Vegas?
It's weird. Vegas. I used to hate Vegas actually. Went like touring all the years and
Okay.
stuff of touring. Vegas was on there a lot. So we did Vegas a lot. So I always hated it because it's like I don't gamble. I don't like.
Okay. I don't gamble either.
I don't really
Yeah.
drink. I don't like. I'm not into the like heavy cigarette smoke that's
Yeah.
in the casinos and stuff. So always it was kind of a little bit of a pain in the ass. Trying to eat there is
Okay.
always like. It's always crazy. With casino
Everything's so
junkies
over
and
the
stuff
top
everywhere.
too.
Yeah, so it's over the top. Until sorry, my throat is
Yeah,
really
you're
bad.
good.
I discovered that there's like a quick rental car place, and you can get this rental car really quick and easy, like jumping right out of the hotel, getting this rental car. And I drive out to the mountains that are right there, like the Calico Mountains and all that stuff. And I
Yeah.
found all these like hikes, all these
Okay.
super cool trails and caves up in those mountains and stuff. So the last 6 or 7 years of touring through there, like I would always like drop my bags, go get
That's
a car.
so cool. You have like an adventure waiting
Yeah,
for
go
you.
to like there's like a super you know snooty coffee shop
Yeah.
a little bit further away from the strip where there's absolutely no good coffee.
No, dude, that's really cool. So for people that that I know that live in Vegas, because it's tempting. Like people, especially living in LA, when like money does not get you very far here.
Yeah.
Like you got to have a lot of money to live like a okay lifestyle. It feels like at least
Yeah.
at times. So like Vegas is always tempting. Like what if? Because like you can get a house for near nothing compared to what you get here.
Yeah.
So I have friends that have like lived out there, and a lot of them tell me how like the nature is kind of like slept on, like the hikes, the access to like things to do outdoors
Yeah.
is similar in aspects to like what you'd have here in Los Angeles, but so much more accessible in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it is. There's not as much like it's not shady hikes by any means.
Yeah.
You're in the desert.
Yeah,
So
it's hot.
everything is pretty open and kind of exposed. So I think a lot of times like maybe that's why it's more, like you say, maybe known or the guy has a more of a reputation or whatever having those things. But I mean, yeah, I mean LA's great too though. It's
Yeah.
like for all of that as well. But yeah, in Vegas you can get so much more for your your buck out there.
Yeah.
But you're in the desert. It's
No, I
hot,
know.
It's like if you're good with that, if you're good with like piping hot all the time.
I just don't
So,
know if I could like live in a place that dry.
yeah,
And
that's
LA is
that's
already
a,
like
it
too
is.
dry in some
Yeah,
ways, and Vegas is just really dry.
it is.
No,
It is.
I'm going out there in early June. I actually growing up, I thought I would hate Vegas because I was somebody that like I never drank, I never smoked, I didn't touch anything till I was 22 years old, not
Okay.
anything.
Okay.
And so like Vegas, I was like, why would I want to go here? Like, there's nothing to do. It's just like there's no water. It's just to like drink. And I'm not gonna lie, I did go to Vegas and I did drink.
How can you not though?
But
Like when
then
you
I
go
did
there,
have
it's
a
like,
great time though.
yeah.
I had a great time. It was pretty cool. We went out with like the first time I went was with, you might know him indirectly. He was Brandon. Do you know Myrick? Myrick, songwriter guy.
Yeah, why do I know that name? What?
So his son Braden Myrick, his
Okay.
dad's like a country songwriter, and he has some deal with like the Mandalay where he does some like country event
Oh,
there.
okay. Maybe that's where I've heard his name or something.
Okay, but he's a big Nashville
Okay,
guy.
okay, okay.
But yeah, anyway, just maybe think of you. But yeah, I don't know. Vegas, I think is it can be a good time for sure.
I like I said, I've developed a good relationship
Your
with
relationship
Vegas.
has
Yeah,
changed.
we're good.
You guys are like this now.
Yeah, totally. Used to be kind of standoffish and be like,
So one thing I was curious about, because you were talking about how like you're out here in LA now, you've been in LA for several years.
Mhm.
I'm envious that you love LA, and there's definitely aspects I like about LA.
Yeah.
A lot I like.
Yeah.
I think the issue is there's equally as many things I don't like. And one of those things, I mean, I can't relate because I don't have a family, but I've always said to myself, like, I could never imagine raising like a family here.
Right.
So for somebody like you that has done that and you do like Los Angeles, like,
Yeah.
take me through that mindset. Like, I'm curious. Because I would love to feel that way.
yeah, no, I can understand that, and I can get inside that and totally, completely,
Yeah.
like feel that. I grew up, like I was born in Dallas, Texas,
Okay.
like in the city, and came up in the city, and I remember, like, especially like moving as when I got a little bit, in my teens and stuff. I moved to like Mississippi and Tennessee and these places like that, and it made me really kind of like value the inner city kind of upbringing I had
Okay.
as a child, because there were things that that I learned in a city where there were more cultures, more more, there was more accepting kind of thing. There was this bigger kind of community, because it was
Yeah.
a bigger city, so everybody was kind of functioning as you saw um, all kinds of different,
Like the culture of
the
it.
culture, just simply
Yeah.
the culture, the different foods, the different, all the different things that the world has to offer in a big
Mm-hmm.
cities like that. And so when I got to like places like Mississippi, where things were a lot more narrow, and
That's a big change.
yeah,
That's a
exactly,
big change.
and like all of these like reflections and stuff, and racism was still
Super
a big,
prevalent, yeah.
still a big thing and stuff. And so and I just remember the limited opportunities. It's like, wow, they don't have a whatever, an ice cream shop here. They
Yeah.
don't have a they don't, what do you mean that they don't have a football team on they don't have a just all of these things that it just seemed like opportunities were smaller, all of these different things in smaller towns. And so I just felt like having him grow up and experience all these at a young, impressionable age and stuff would I just feel is kind of the right way for me to do it. Or
Yeah,
I feel good
yeah.
about that. I feel like exposing him to
You don't want to have like a
all of
super
these
vanilla
cultures.
upbringing.
Yeah, exactly.
Experience what life
exactly.
has to
And
offer.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm guessing that like some part of you thinks that like there's some things you'd want to like filter to some degree, right? Or
yeah,
like
that's the balance.
And in
you know?
LA, I feel like that specifically becomes difficult.
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's because I feel like, in LA he learns what Grand Theft Auto is, by first grade,
and not the video game,
yeah, exactly.
not the video game.
And in Mississippi or something, that's maybe a seventh grade conversation.
Yeah, for sure,
maybe. But yeah, it's a trade off. It's it is. You take the bad with the good, and you just kind of balance it all out, and hopefully the good comes out ahead in the wash.
Yeah, no, but just even from like meeting him briefly, he's super cool.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, he's good, and I I attribute that to, like I said, having.
I was honestly pretty jealous. Like the first thing he's like asking is like what the top 3 Beatles songs were, and I'm like already being like interrogated. I'm like, God. I love it.
He is obsessed with the Beatles right now. Like I'm a Beatle fan, and it's kind of made me go like, wow, maybe I was kind of obnoxious when I was young. I was so over the top about the Beatles, and like he wears me out. I can't even watch TV without like pause. Like, all right, what is your favorite like Beatles song on Revolver? It's like, okay, well, we're going to go into another Beatle conversation. All right.
I love that though. I love that though. That's so great.
That's awesome.
So I had some other notes too. Let me see. I know you brought a guitar too, right?
I did. Yeah. It was. You asked for kind of an interesting piece.
Yeah, something that'd be interesting to show.
Yeah, that has a story to it. Well, I thought it'd be fun because back in, I think it was 2010 or 12, maybe 12. I'm terrible at this.
Okay.
But I think it was 2012. We shot a video for Kelly's Mr. Know-It-All video.
Okay.
And the theme was, all of these different headlines, because at the time there was there were all these like headlines and stuff coming out about her and all this stuff, and it was just kind of silly and stuff, some of the headlines that we're saying and stuff. So it was kind of a mockery about that. And so we were shooting the video, and we got our guitars all custom wrapped with all of these just goofy made of headlines.
Okay.
Of all of these different crazy things that we could dream of. And funny enough, in the video, if you watch it, she's like singing and screaming into someone's ear as she's singing, and that's actually me.
Really? Yeah. Okay, nice.
Yeah, we put on like a leather jacket and like turn away from the camera, and like she's in the back like just
that's
like,
hilarious.
But yeah, I brought the guitar and stuff to show some of the funny headlines on there. There's some ridiculous stuff.
Okay, should we whip it
out?
out?
Grab it real quick.
That is so awesome. Oh, that is amazing.
So here we got.
So it's gonna be this camera. So sure, yeah. Wow, that is really interesting.
Kelly's manager is a robot. Here's Kelly's. There's print. Driving me crazy. Kelly endorses smoking. There she is. Smoking.
Actually, you might want to sit back. It might be pretty close. Might be pretty zoomed in right there.
Right.
Yeah. I gotta see this. That's crazy.
Computers turn this kid on. Leaks. All these.
So who wrapped this? And are these all like fake headlines? I'm guessing.
Yeah.
You just
they were all like headlines that were created and printed out.
So if I go back and watch the music video, I'll see this guitar.
This is the one I'm playing.
No way. So what is this originally? Just like a Les Paul Studio?
It's actually a melody maker.
That's the single pickup. Okay.
Yeah. Because we wrapped the guard as well.
It's how many Les Pauls do you have these days?
Honestly, I don't have a lot of Les Pauls. I have a few. Let me see. I have like, I don't know, maybe 4, just 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, but I have a ton of guitars.
I mean, that's still 4 more Les Pauls than I have. But.
Yeah, no, they're nice guitars. I have like my main guitar is that smaller guitar, the Nighthawk. It's one of those. It's a little smaller. It's like
is it a Gibson?
Blues. Yeah, it's like a Blues Hawk. I think was another one that was kind of similar body shape.
Okay.
But that's kind of my main guitar because I kind of like loaded it with like Lawler pickups and.
Okay.
The action on it is just really, really great, and it's got a tap where it, single coil tap.
Okay.
It sounds
you like the single coil tap stuff? I've never been a fan of it.
On those Lawler, I mean, I'm the same way.
I'm like, why don't you just have one? Why don't you just have both? It's like get a Strat and get a Les Paul. Why get like? I
know, but there's songs that.
But you think the single coil sounds nice on it?
I do.
Yeah.
On those Lawler, they're the nicer like single.
Okay.
coil tap kind of things that I've heard. So, which is why, it's kind of my go-to kind of guitar. Like when we do fly out or do something like that, they go, all right, bring one guitar and we'll backline
Yeah.
the rest or whatever. It's like I always like take the Nighthawk because you backline Les Pauls, they're all going to be pretty good.
Yeah,
You
for
know, it's
sure,
like,
for sure.
so I find it easier to just backline than Les Pauls, leave yours at home. So
Okay.
you're not traveling with them and stuff.
So talking about like guitar playing, I'm curious. So we talked a little bit about like Kelly Clarkson, but take me through like I'm curious about earlier. So like, did you when you started playing guitar, did you take lessons? Were you self-taught? Was it through like a band in high school? How did that go?
Yeah, I came up. I mean, I did the whole like bands in high school kind of thing. I come from a musical family. Like all my dad's side, they're all musicians. All
Okay.
my grandfather and all them. So like since I've been in diapers, there's always been like just like this. This is what
Guitars hanging around,
just
yeah.
guitars everywhere,
Yeah.
and drum sets and just
Yeah.
everything everywhere all the time. This like
I've ran out of hangers, as you can
yeah,
tell.
yeah, no, this is that. I mean, this is what I've always known. And so yeah, so yeah, I've always like in some kind of like, whether it be if I'm just jamming in the living room with my dad's band that was there practicing, or like
Yeah.
my granddad, or so I would go and sit with him and jam sometimes, so it was always around playing. So I guess it was around, I don't know, 15, when I finally like moved to Mississippi. I got a job immediately in a music store,
Okay.
and the owner there, Charles Hall, we hit it off, and him and his wife owned it, and I ended up joining their band.
No way. Okay.
Yeah, and then I ended up like teaching guitar at the music store because they had
Okay.
lessons and all that stuff. So I was instructor.
So you were teaching right away.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. And
Like,
how old were you at this time?
16.
Okay.
Yeah.
So were you already pretty like solid on guitar at 16? You think?
I could get around, yeah, just because like I said, I'd just been doing it. I got my first like real guitar when I was like
And like
7.
music theory knowledge, like did you know like minor, major scale, thirds, fifths, sevenths?
I
all
did.
that
Well,
stuff?
I started. I didn't know. I mean, that was around like 12 when I got like serious on like all the like
That's mad impressive though. That's so
getting
cool.
when I got serious, like all right, get a scale book and like really like start like understanding
Playing
it.
with
So,
purpose.
Yeah, exactly. Like from like 7 until I take my guitar to school and like play for like show and tell, and I
Yeah.
play like honky tonk or something.
What was your first guitar?
I've got it in my bedroom right now.
Yeah?
It's a little acoustic Kent.
Kent?
Yeah.
Is it called? Never heard of that.
Yeah, yeah. It's a little bitty cheap acoustic.
That's great.
Yeah, 7 years old.
So you're 16. You're teaching guitar lessons at this music store.
Yeah. So
How does it evolve from there?
well, so what happened is I ended up at working at this music store. It was like the main one in the town there.
Is this in Dallas?
This is in Mississippi. at this
Mississippi.
point,
Okay, so
yeah.
you'd already moved to
This
Mississippi.
is Greenwood,
Okay.
Mississippi.
Okay.
So all the bands and musicians and everything that came through would come through that music store. So I met
Okay.
all of these different bands and got in tight with all these musicians and stuff because I worked at the music store.
And are these just like local guys or people of like notoriety?
Mainly local or regional
Okay.
cats,
Okay.
that would come through, or like some of the guys from like Memphis, or
Okay.
some of the Nashville. So would get some of that.
Someone would trickle down.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Or some from Texas maybe, but so from there, I ended up getting to jam with all these different bands, and
That's
then one
cool.
I ended up with that stuck with, and toured around regionally with them for a while, and then ended up jumping on with this other band after that, and we did a little bit bigger. It was a metal band.
Okay.
I say metal, but I mean like hard. I mean,
It's like hard rock nowadays.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
we did like Cheap Trick songs. Or,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
did,
for sure.
We did some covers, like kind of like that. So it wasn't really metal, but there were some other. We may have covered some of the hair bands from time to time.
Okay.
No, we were total in that hair band kind of phase.
Like Megadeth or
Not
like
necessarily
even
Meg, but
even
like the whole like
Judas Priest
Winger,
kind
Bon
of?
Jovi.
Okay, okay.
Um,
So not even like metal, like the hard
yeah,
rock.
kind of glam rock,
Yeah,
like it was
yeah,
kind of that. But we didn't wear like makeup and tease our hair. We would,
yeah.
wear pink
Not
spandex
gonna
and
lie though,
stuff.
I love that era of
I did too.
music.
I did
I
too. I loved
really
all
do
that.
love
Yeah,
that era of music.
I do too. I mean, Hair Nation. It's like that's my go-to station on.
Like as a kid,
Station.
I would just wake up sad that I wasn't like a guitar player in the 80s.
I know, right? That'd have been
Like
so
people ask me what
fun.
I want to do, and I'm like, we can't be done.
Oh, record sales. I mean, you made buckets of cash back then.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was a different time.
So you're in all these different bands, in metal bands. How does that, like, obviously as a musician, it's no secret that like to find the recipe to be able to take a passion and be able to make that your full-time job.
Yeah.
And like you've obviously been able to do that. Now you're like super into songwriting now too, and obviously you can talk about that. But when did the shift happen from like, I'm assuming like broke musician, how did that shift happen from like finding success, and then how were you able to like do that further? Because like I know you do the stuff with Kelly, but she's like Era's also told me like some of the songwriting credits you've done recently. So like how did that shift happen? And then maybe if there's like some advice along the way, if you could provide that, if there's some like silver lining there.
Right, right. Okay. So I was after the bands and stuff that I was just speaking of, we kind of played that out, and kind of I don't know, just needed a break, and that's when I kind of stepped back for a little bit, and that's when I moved to
Okay.
Memphis, um, got married, had Ayla and Era, um, and then
So are you just like working a 9 to 5 at this
yeah, at
time,
this
or?
point, I work in coffee shops and Kinkos and
Okay.
different things like that, just kind of hustling a bit, um, and and then started just scratching little itches and playing with some local friends and stuff, and then like really started gradually wanting to do more and everything, and then
Hmm.
an audition came through town. I was living with this friend of mine, and he told me about it. He's like, "Hey, this guy, Matt Nathanson, is looking for a band." And Davi Garza, funny enough, a friend of ours, you know, sent the information over, and you want to go audition for this guy? I'm not going to do it. You want to do it? And I was like, yeah, I'll go. I'm going to go do it. So
Okay.
because he's touring, so he's looking for a touring band. I was like, oh, cool, yeah,
Okay. And
it'd
this
be
is from Matt
awesome.
Nathanson.
Yeah, so I was
Okay.
like, maybe
Yeah.
who knows? I'd love to go on tour right now.
Yeah,
If I
for
know what
sure.
I'm
You're
doing
like,
right now.
hell
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
So I went to this audition and got the audition, and got the thing, and it was a few days later. His manager called and said, all right, you got the
You're
gig.
it.
You're in. Like, get ready to pack your bags. We're headed out on like an OAR tour or something like that.
That's crazy.
So immediately, like we
That's
were
so
just,
cool, though.
yeah, it was great.
That's probably one of the best phone calls of your life. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
guessing. Yeah.
it was great. Yeah, he called and it was just like that, and it wasn't just a couple weeks later. I was not at the coffee shop. I was sitting in Buffalo, New York or whatever, getting ready to go
That's so
play
cool.
this big giant festival.
Do you remember
Yeah.
that day a lot? Like, does that day stick out to you? Like, you have a pretty good memory of that day.
That whole that like time that time, because it was just a whole blur, like a whole feeling,
Yeah.
of like, wow, it's like I'm getting paid. Like, it was the first time I'd ever been like paid more than like $120, for a show that I did that night, or like a bar tab or
Yeah.
something. It's like I was actually making real like money, and enough money to actually like pay bills and
Yeah.
like child support and these
Yeah, for
things.
sure.
So it was it was a it was like it was a very it was a rewarding kind of moment,
Yeah.
in that time, and it was it was a great time. He's still a great friend, and he's still one of the funniest motherfuckers you've ever met.
Yeah.
And yes, God, it's like sometimes you just have to step away from him because you're like your sides are hurting, and you're just like, I gotta go. I'm gonna go get a coffee or something. I
Is
gotta
he
get
still
away.
touring these days?
He is, yeah. He's out. I just saw he just went out with Matchbox 20.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. He's out with those guys.
I like his solo stuff too, Rob Thomas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've only stood in. I've never met him directly. I've only stood in circles
Okay.
of conversation with him, and he seems like a super neat dude. Super nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. So, Matt Nathanson to Kelly. How does that happen?
So okay, so yeah, so I did the tour with Matt. We did a couple of tours, and then he went down for a minute to kind of he was on Universal, and I think he wasn't sure really what he was going to do next and stuff. So he sat for a minute and was kind of planning his next move. And it just so happened that when Matt and we were out on tour, we met other bands that were on different bills of all these different runs that we were doing. So we met all these different bands, and one of those bands called me just at the time when we were down and said, "Hey, our guitar player just went down. He just busted up his hand and stuff. Can you fly to Nashville and like finish this tour with us?" And I was like, "Yeah, perfect.
Okay.
I'm down. I got the time. This is great. It works out." So I went out, and that was Graham Colton band.
Okay.
So he was another Universal. He was on Universal.
Same label.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And so we did a few tours with him, and then got the call one day that out of a stack of CDs that were given to her to pick for an opening band, she picked Graham Colton's.
Kelly did?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess her agent, I guess when she was getting ready to do her tour, had handed her a stack of CDs. Said, here's a few bands, pick something pick one for an opener.
Okay.
And so she picked Graham's, and so that's how we ended up with Kelly. So we got the call and said, "Hey, Kelly wants."
So you just started as an opener.
Yeah.
As the opener.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's like, "Yeah, Kelly wants you guys to come and be her opener on her tour."
Okay.
And we're like, "Okay, it's straight." We were kind of
Okay.
like an
And is this
Oasis.
like right after Idol?
Yeah, this was in 2000. It was Idol was 2002. This was 2005. So this
Okay.
was like a couple of years after Idol.
Okay.
This was right when her Since You've Been Gone, all that stuff was blowing up.
Okay.
The big stuff was blowing up.
Okay.
And we thought it was kind of strange because we didn't know Kelly Sound. We were like American Idol. It's just like a pop chick, or whatever. Because we were kind of like leather jackets and kind of like
Hard rockers. Or...
Yeah, it was more like kind of Oasis, kind of like it's kind of like his Graham that the vibe for that kind of thing was like he influenced like Counting Crows, Oasis, kind of mashup kind of thing, and so we thought it was a little strange, but we were like, oh, okay, and sounds good, we'll do it, and then so we did it, and it went awesome. Like both our camps like just immediately came like still to this day all super tight.
Yeah,
friends.
like both like the bands and her.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We're all like everybody was everybody's tight, and then Kelly ended up dating Graham.
Oh shit! Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that so it's like, all right, here we brought us around for another tour. So we ended up doing another tour, and on that tour, Kelly's from Texas.
Okay.
I'm from Texas and stuff. So we would always kind of bullshit and talk and brag and tell other people how we were superior because we were from Texas. That whole Texas thing.
Yeah, bonding over it a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. It's just and all that stuff. So yeah, exactly. So we just became tight and stuff, and ended up just starting to write. Like I would give her music. She would write to it, and it just kind of started that way, and we ended up writing all these songs and everything. And then after the Graham thing did the same thing. After the record cycle went down, she was gearing up to go out, and it just so happened that she was restructuring the band or doing something. I guess other guys were doing obligated to other things or whatever, and I got the call, and they called me and asked if I wanted to come and join.
That's crazy. That's
her band.
That's amazing. Now.
Yeah. So it's that was 18. That was 17 years ago.
Wow, 17 years ago. It seems crazy because even like growing up, it doesn't even feel like Idol has been that old. It doesn't even feel like it's been around that long. So you've been playing with it for 17 years now.
Yeah,
that's crazy. So question then: any songs that like particularly I or someone might know that you would have helped write?
I haven't written any of her mega hits.
Okay.
any of the big radio hits. I mean, maybe the one that I guess that everyone might know is her kind of her fan favorite is "Sober." I wrote that with
Sober?
her.
Okay.
Yeah, I wrote that with her on her My December album.
Okay.
And I did both Christmas records with her.
Okay.
We wrote a bunch of songs on both those albums.
I'm not gonna lie, I listened to the shit out of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. The first, I think I'm pretty sure, because she just did another one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was the first one
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember I heard one of the songs once. I actually used it as like a production reference because I heard one of the songs and I was like, how does this vocal just sound so good?
Yeah. Yeah, that was like 2013, I think was the first Christmas album. And the second one just came out, yeah.
And then I know you work with like some other artists too, so obviously Kelly's a huge part of it, but like present day now, like what does your day look like? Like what are you mostly focused on?
I do a lot of production and writing and stuff as well. I've got a handful of. I don't do the whole like just go out and just write with everyone I can kind of thing. I mean, it'd probably be a good thing if I did, but I just don't. I just don't have the time, honestly.
Probably be like, yeah, I'd be living in a house in Malibu.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's so I keep it to a small number. I mean, I try to carve out. Time for, all the things that need to be, addressed and stuff. But I work with a couple of different managers and stuff that have these different artists that come through, and they're always sending me interesting artists. I worked with this French Canadian artist not too long ago, Berries.
Okay.
I'm doing like a showcase show with her. Here at the end of the month here in LA.
Okay.
Another incredible artist that I write with occasionally here is Daphne Willis.
Okay.
So look her up. She's incredible.
Okay. Daphne Willis?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Vibi. Vibi. She's another incredible writer, artist, and stuff as well. I write with, but I just do. That's kind of what my days look like. I do a lot of like production.
Okay.
For
and when you're doing this production, are these like virtual instruments, real instruments, mix of both?
Yeah. It's kind of a hybrid.
Okay.
It's a hybrid. I've got I got a lot of quirky things around the house, but I have hard drives of crazy samples and that kind of stuff. And stuff as well. So yeah, I like to. I mean, it's like you never know where the like. What's gonna like where the inspiration's gonna drive it,
for sure.
Get funky and like break out this piece of wood with tape and.
So besides
whatever.
Guitar, then what would you say is your favorite thing to play?
Piano.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Keys.
Yeah, I like keys. Yeah, it's weird. It's like I always played piano, or whatever, but I never had one around a lot to really like. And I don't know, like 6 or 7 years ago or something like that. It's like I finally bought one to have around all the time, so it would force me to like play more often.
Mm-hmm.
And I've just loved, getting to learn an instrument.
No, I resonate with that a lot. There was like growing up, I played guitar pretty much my first instrument was trumpet in like third or fourth grade band, but other than that, it was guitar all the way through. And like several years ago, I really wanted to learn like keys and drums. And I don't know, I just realized, especially with songwriting, I feel like keys just like match a vocal so well. Not that guitar doesn't either, but there's just something so magical about like a piano stroke.
The voicing you can,
just the way it matches like the human voice is really just something special. So I mean, that's surprising to hear with the musical background that you didn't always have one like available, but for me it was the same situation where like I had like a crappy like Yamaha PSR, like the early crappy keyboards,
like you don't really learn on like this. And that was the thing. It's like
it doesn't have a weighted key feel. It's
right.
like, how are you supposed to learn if it doesn't have the proper feedback?
Yeah, unless you have a piano in the house.
Yeah.
Which we never, it's like my grandmother's house we did, but again, it's one of those things that it's not around all the time for you to like progressively keep learning and every day.
During COVID, I bought a upright Wurlitzer
Oh, nice.
Very out of tune, but I still loved it. Like
Yeah.
I got it tuned, but it went right back out of tune. And no, it was just really cool to have like an instrument that I could always play. And even like I just got this like Juno,
Yeah.
Roland Juno, which like is pretty decent. You know, it's like a poor man's Nord.
Semi-weighted keys.
Yeah. But even then, it's not the same as just having an instrument that you can just like instantly get the feedback from.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's what I finally bought was I had to buy that too, and I was like, I could use this for that. I was like, but
Yeah,
I'm
it's
gonna
just
make
not
it
the
like,
same. It's just not the
I want
same.
something to push a button and they go,
So
and it's immediately
do you play drums at all then?
little bit,
A little bit? Okay.
yeah. It's one of those instruments that
That's easy.
if I
Usually
had a
even more out of
basement,
reach because
yeah,
the
exactly.
sound.
If I had a
sound
basement and
space.
lived out on 5 acres and stuff, I would be a badass drummer. You know?
Yeah, you're like if I had a nuclear shelter under my house in Mississippi,
Exactly.
I'd be
exactly.
drumming away.
Shit, yeah.
So I guess last thing I wanted to ask you, fitness wise, throughout the years, when you're on tour, are you working out? You still work out these days? I mean, you look pretty fit.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Man, it's weird because the touring years, I didn't do it.
Yeah.
I was like, my focus was waking up and finding coffee in Pittsburgh
Okay.
or whatever, and I didn't focus. My attention wasn't really on it. And I didn't really put a lot of attention on it, to be honest, until COVID.
Okay.
And so that's when I really like made like a super conscious decision to like, okay, I'm gonna really like make it an important part of my life. I'm gonna make it like a bigger, like, I'm gonna create a bigger and more important space.
Yeah.
For like that kind of thing, for fitness and health and stuff. It just never was. It's just like a lot of things for other people. It's like it's just something that somebody else does. It's other people's
It's
thing.
not my
like,
thing.
It's not my
Yeah,
thing,
for sure.
And then
Which is weird because I think there are exceptions, but to me, that's how I felt too. And so the
Yeah.
fact that I do it as like a living or
Yeah.
a career is the strangest thing.
Yeah.
Because I'll meet those people and I'm like, no, we were literally the same person.
no, it's true. It's true. And it's like it's like, and for many times, as many people, I did a soft attempt. It's like, yeah, okay,
Yeah.
go back to-
It's not for me.
whatever.
It's not for me.
Whatever. No, but so like after I made that like decision that I was really going to do it, it's like it was easy in the way that like I got results fast because I have very little body fat.
Okay.
So I immediately like could get results, and I was instantly getting feedback.
Yeah.
And that was the stuff that was like the pay. Okay, it's like it's worth it, and it's
Yeah.
like there's a payoff, and like and so that makes you feel good, like you're
Yeah.
actually accomplishing like what you set out to do, and it's not this like disappearing door.
Yeah, for sure.
It's actually attainable, like when you start like feeling and seeing the results and stuff, and that's when it turned for me. That's like, oh wow, okay, it's for real. It's not a fantasy.
Yeah.
Like to get firm and to actually have cut or
Yeah.
to actually like have some muscle. Or,
People will ask me and they'll be like, how do you like stay motivated? And I'm like, discipline is one thing, but like motivation, it's like once you see the results, that's why I'm like, I don't need to motivate you at all. It's like once you see the output of what you input,
the choice
and the choices you make, and you wake up the next day and you see the results that like you have worked to achieve, it's like,
yeah,
that's all the motivation you need.
Yeah, you get
once you
like
see what
this.
you've done, it's like I don't need to tell you anything. Like it's all you, dog.
Yeah, exactly. Because you
know?
either want that or you want
Yeah,
what
I'm
you
like,
have.
I'll
It's
push
like,
you, but like once you get the ball rolling, like dude, like you can keep it up. I promise.
Yeah.
So, that's cool. Did you notice a big mental shift too when you started working out?
Yeah, 100%. It immediately fed confidence, which immediately feeds your creative.
Mm-hmm.
It's all, it's all synergetic. It all works together. Like when you're feeling positive or you're feeling good about yourself, then you're more creative and you feel better about your production.
For sure.
And I think that's the base. Like, I think that the health and the being the fit, I think that comes before any of that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think any of that can come before health, or before.
Yeah, that's the most important
That's
health.
the most important, because I think
Yeah.
that's the foundation of like getting your mind right,
Yeah.
and stuff, that your physical body is in shape. Now now you can expand into the mental and the
Yeah.
psychological parts of who you are.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's you can't do that with a broken down body, or
Yeah.
with a body with that's low in whatever it is. You can't be creative. Your creative is going to lack. You can't be you know active, or whatever. You're going to be tired, or you're all these different
100%.
things that lead back to just not taking care of your health, or
Yeah.
not taking that as your foundation first.
Yeah.
So that's when it dawned on me, at no, it all starts with getting your body, and then your mind right.
Yeah, for sure.
Getting all that stuff in a line and stuff, and then all that other stuff comes a lot more. It's like the Matrix, and
Yeah.
all the
No,
sudden it's gonna.
I'm happy you found that. So like, what was the routine in which you found that? Was it like just going for a run? Was it finding like a gym routine? Like what was that?
Yeah, and honestly, my brother, he was really into Tony Horton and P90X,
Okay.
and all that
Okay.
stuff, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we would always like laugh because we love Tony Horton's
Yeah.
like
Ab Ripper X.
his well, we love his like his personality, and like
Yeah.
the crazy things that he says,
For
and like
sure.
he's just a funny dude.
He's a
And
likable guy.
Yeah, he's totally likable guy, and so Weiss did my brother, he did the the P90X challenge, and got pretty ripped, and I was like, oh damn, all right. And so that that was that went by and stuff, and he went back and everything, and then we got Tony Horton came back up again or somehow, and it was just something I just started kind of thinking about it, all the things that he was saying and stuff, and it was just and so I would try one of his workouts and stuff, and be exhausted, but I'd be sore the next day, and it was just like, that's good, right? Like,
Yeah.
it feels like something's happening. Like,
You're like, I'm doing the right thing. Yeah. Right.
I'm feeling it, so like, it's got to be right, And like I said, did it a couple more times, and then you could immediately, like, you could see slight differences and stuff, and you're like, oh, I'm on to something, or
Yeah.
like it's maybe I can do this, maybe
Yeah.
this is, I think it's just pushing through that. It's hard because you don't think that you can be in shape, or have or have the body or whatever that, like, you see some of those guys having. You're like, man, look at that dude. He's like, what does he have to do? Like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
And it's like, you can go that extreme or whatever, but like to get near that, you don't have to. But
No.
it's like it's just a little bit of discipline, and it's just, and it doesn't take that long. It's like I don't like spend hours a day on it, It's
Yeah.
just like, I dedicate 20 to 30 minutes,
And I think
that's
your
it.
perspective starts to shift too, because like you might look at it at first as like, oh, here's this hour of hell I have to endure every day.
Yeah.
Or you can look at it as in like, all right, now is my time for me. Like, I don't have to work right now.
Yeah.
I can put my headphones in. I can listen to my favorite music right now.
Yeah.
Nobody's around. I can act like a fool. I can dance like a fool.
Yeah.
I can look like an idiot if I want to. And I just get to like push myself in the
Yeah.
most like plain, simple, barbaric sense, push myself
Absolutely.
and feel the benefits of it.
Absolutely.
You know?
And a lot of times, if I'm unmotivated, I'll set a timer and say, okay, just 15 minutes. I'm gonna set 15 minutes. If I do nothing, like, instead of like going beast mode and like going, all right, today I'm gonna rip it and stuff like that. If I'm just going like, man, I don't have the time and I can't, like that, I'll just go, all right, 15 minutes, or whatever. I've got 10 minutes. I've got whatever, how many ever, I'm gonna do that, minimum, because I want to get it in, because it makes me feel good about the rest of the day. I
For
feel
sure.
good about
Oh,
anything I eat.
100%.
Like, I look at food different.
You just like
everything
it's like it's crazy. It's like your judgment increases. You just want to make better
Yep.
decisions.
You're like,
you
I
know?
don't want to eat that. Nope. I'd work too hard.
You're just like, I worked too damn
I
hard.
work too hard. You take
know?
that back.
And then like 30 minutes later, you're like, damn, I'm really happy I made that decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, because again, like,
And that's a
seeing the
snowball
results.
effect, but like only in the best way possible.
Yeah, because that starts a chain reaction. It's like, oh, like, I'm making good decisions.
Consecutively
I'm on
good
top of it. Yeah,
decisions,
like,
you
I'm
know?
on top of this. I got my shit together.
Yeah.
It's like, this is, and you just build on that.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's it's like this good kind of match that you do
Yeah.
with yourself. Trying
Dude,
to,
it's why like I tell so many people, and it's not to like tell everybody they have to be a bodybuilder or like the gym has to be the most important thing in their life, but like if you're not doing well or if you're like down on yourself and you're like out of routine, just creating that routine I think will instantly amplify your life.
absolutely.
Like just those small things, like instead of always looking cynically at everything in your life, like
Yeah.
everything can just start to shift the happier and more motivated and disciplined you are when you're like working actively on yourself.
Absolutely, because then you see that anything you really can, like you can attain whatever you want. Like
Yeah.
it's like even if you want like that build and that whatever, it's like it's doable.
Yeah.
That's if you put your mind to it, you set the discipline. It's worth it
Yeah.
because it just sets, like I said, just sets off this chain reaction of self, um, you know, building, events
Yeah,
from
yeah.
just focusing on, like I said, going from creative to planning to disciplines to all everything.
So question, probably wrap up here soon. I was gonna say though, if you could leave us with like some sort of advice. So for somebody that may be like a musician, somebody that's moving to LA, somebody that has like a creative network that they are pursuing, even though like it could be different than them. Like I think pursuing something in the creative field where like there isn't a handbook, there's no like
Yeah.
instructions. You can't just go to school, get a degree, and you're a guitarist for one of the biggest like acts in the world. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
Like you have to find your own way, and like you've even showcased like in your journey how like one thing led to another, and it can be random, but you have to like jump at the right thing at the right time. So talking like persistence or creativity, what is something that like you could leave someone with if you could tell like your younger self moving to LA, what's like biggest takeaway advice you could give to somebody?
Oh God, there's a lot, and as far as entry, I mean there's so many different ways of going and doing different things in the music industry or coming to LA and being in the creative field. It's I think coming out here, it's obviously you want to be where, kind of where the people that do what you do or that do what you're interested in doing are, to build those relationships. And I think, it's it's kind of overlooked, I think, a lot. And I think that I think a lot of people get jaded and they get kind of cynical about things. And I think people don't know that how much that like hurts you or puts you at a
Okay.
disadvantage.
That mindset.
Yeah, I think that like I see the people that succeed and stuff or whatever. It's like they always keep like a positive. I think the positive nature is always a good thing to have.
Okay.
I think that because people, it's a smaller industry. Everything's a smaller industry than everyone thinks it is. Because like it's like the people that you meet on the way up are the same people you're going to meet on the way down.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
It's
yeah.
like that kind of thing. So I think that if you remember that and you kind of take it with everything with humility and understand
I
that
like
like
that,
it's all connected, and to remember to enjoy what you do, and what you're trying to do, and staying positive, trying to build relationships, in a genuine way, as opposed to like ladder climbing or anything. Like stay curious and get to like really meet and understand people.
Okay.
And like and like I said, in a genuine way, not in a way that like I'm going to meet this person because they're going to get me to this and they're going to get me to that. There's a difference. But there's no handbook. It's all different. I mean, it's you just try to build relationships in a genuine way and stay positive and be a good person, because there's a lot of dicks out there. You don't want to be, in the
Yeah.
conversation. They're like, oh no, yeah, no, he's a dick,
Yeah, for
because
sure.
because I've seen it work on the other side too when they're when hiring or trying to be the person getting hired, and being on the like the side of like when looking for artists or looking for you know production or those things and stuff. And it's like, you know, half, I think a lot of times, even like when like being and working with any job, honestly, I think half of it is your talent and half of it is your
Do people want to work with
do
you?
people want to work with you?
Yeah.
You know, it's that, and it's like remembering that, and just as simple and cliche as it is, just be a good person. Don't be a dick. You know, and try to be nice, and like remember that like everybody's got a story. Everybody's struggling with something, or at something, or with someone, or and it's, I'm guilty of it too. I get lost and I forget about that too, and get pissed off, or pop off or something. But it's what's one of those things that you come back to. You got to remember, like,
Mind yourself.
yeah, because in the big picture, it's like I feel that, like, even with my longevity with Kelly and the band, the interchanging band, I think half of it is talent, and half of it is just I've just been I've stayed humble. I know it's an incredible opportunity, right? And I know so many more people and so many friends that don't have anywhere near the same opportunity, and that isn't lost on me. And so I try to stay grateful and show gratitude, and like
Yeah.
and I try to be easy to get along with on the road,
For sure.
and those
Yeah,
kinds
yeah.
of things, and not like raise like drama and be the drama queen, or
Yeah.
anything like that. So those are just kind of, I mean, there's so much more, to get to. I mean, as far as like all the different things that I would advise and stuff, but just comes to mind. I would just, those are kind of the things that immediately come to mind, is that you see so many people just go like, get cynical and get stuff, and kind of get jaded, and just kind of, grovel about everything.
For sure. Yeah, no, I see it too. And like, I'm even guilty of it myself. So that's a good reminder.
and it's understandable sometimes when, you're taking hits, and you're, swinging and missing and all that stuff.
Get knocked
and
down and stuff.
Yeah, and I get it, but I think, it's big picture to, like, you can get pissed off, right, and get beat up and stuff and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, the big picture is like, just remember, it's like to stay cool,
Yeah,
stay
yeah,
humble,
for sure,
and like,
for sure.
no, don't take a torch to anything, because like I said, the people, all the people you piss off or whatever that you on the way up are the same people you're going to meet on your way down.
Yeah. Well,
So,
thank you so much for coming.
yeah, thank you so
Aben
much for having me,
Eubanks,
man.
thanks
Thank you.
for coming and hang out.
Absolutely, anytime, man. This is great.
Yeah. I don't know, do you have something people could follow or anything like that?
Man, I just got an Instagram, and I try to, it'll be probably a lot more active this summer.
Okay.
More interesting stuff that
Get
people
to
might
see some
wanna
of the
hear.
Vegas residency.
Yeah, I'll do some fun gear stuff and behind the scenes stuff. I'm trying to figure out
All
a
right.
bunch of fun stuff to do.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
I will see you next time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me,
Take
man.
it easy.
Yeah.
Cool. Cut it there.
Yeah, man.
Dude, that was awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.